Hello, hello, hello. We are about to get started. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. I'm so excited. Yes, we are going to be talking about mothers. We're going to be talking about mothers in just one moment. Can you see me? That's all I want to know. Can you see me? Here I is. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in live as we talk about mothers. I have a guest with me today, and we are going to talk about mothers. So, first and foremost, happy Mother's Day to all the amazing mothers out there. Now, it doesn't take having a child biologically to be a mother. As we know, there are so many people out there who mother children and adults every single day. We have aunties, we have grandmothers, we have godmothers, we have cousins, we have great grandmothers, we have friends who mother children that are not their biological children. I have two biological children, but I have so many other children that I have mentored and guided, and they call me Ma. I got somebody at work called me Ma. I got my bonus daughter, Lashana, who calls me Ma. I got so many children out there who I mentored and I've loved, like I gave birth. I have, former stepchildren, so many different children that I've mothered over my last almost 51 years. And there are a lot of people out there who have mothered children that they didn't give birth to. So I want to give a shout out to them too, because oftentimes during Mother's Day, and my stepmother, who's an amazing mother, it's just so many, you have stepmothers who have been mothers, and like I said, grandmothers, aunties, cousins, a lot of people out there who have mothered children in some type of way. And I just want to acknowledge the ones who didn't necessarily give birth, because sometimes during these times, people are, some women are like, well, dang, I haven't given birth to children. But then you have to keep in mind all the children that you've mothered, all of your godchildren and your nieces and nephews, that's still mothering. Before we get started, before I bring on my guests, I just really want to show some respect to those who have lost their mothers and grandmothers and aunties and all those women who raised you. And during this time, it's difficult because everybody's talking about mother, 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 happy Mother's Day, mother, mother, mother. And it does bring back the memories of the mothers that you've had who have passed. So I want to send my condolences and my love and prayers and hugs to all the people who are really having a hard time today, because it's not always easy, when these come, especially the mothers who have passed, and this is your first Mother's Day without them. So that doesn't go unnoticed. But what else doesn't go unnoticed is all the amazing songs that talk about mothers. And even, I do part-time work sometimes at a luxury reels retail place, right? And the lines were wrapped around the corner like it was Christmas to get Mother's Day gifts. And I was like, dang, I wonder if it's like this during Father's Day. Sometimes fathers get a big bad rap, but we'll talk about fathers on Father's Day. Sorry, fathers. I want to focus on the moms. So, what is a mother? A mother defined a woman in relation to her child or children. Bring up a child with care, affection. It doesn't really give the definition. It's not giving what I wanted to give, a true definition of a mother, a female partner. She's a mother of three. Like, it really doesn't describe what a mother is. But I have someone who has children and she has a mother, and she's going to come on and talk about what motherhood means to her. So if you're listening, you're watching live or the playback, drop in the comments and tell me what motherhood means to you. What is a mother to you? Because clearly the definition in the dictionary ain't doing nothing. It's not really telling us. So I just want to talk about it's so many. List the songs that people talk about when it comes to mother. Of course, you got Mama, a song for Mama, Boys to Men from the movie Soul Food. You have Dear Mama, Tupac. You have what's the song by Ashanti? She talks about mothers. I think it's by Ashanti. Look that up. Let me see what it's called. We have Oh Mother of Mine, Temptations. We have, of course, a song from Mama. Mama Said by the Shirelles. We have I Got You by Sierra. She talks about motherhood. We have Tell Mama by Etta James. We have some of these I never even heard of. We have Superwoman by Alicia Keys talking about mothers. We have Mom by Megan Trainor. We have, I mean, I can go on and on and on and on and on. Mama's Kitchen by CC Winans. Even Ring Off, I have to read that again. But listen to that again by Beyonce. So many different mother songs. And we're going to talk about that. I'm not going to ramble on. I'm going to get my guest on here. But I was just thinking about how people celebrate their moms. So sometimes, even though they don't have the words to express it, they can just put on a song and say, Mom, this is what I think about you, with all of these beautiful songs. And my daughter, every time she puts a post on, my youngest daughter, she always puts a song for Mama by Boys to Men on Soul Food soundtrack. So I'm sure you have a favorite mom song. Drop that in the comments also. So without further ado, let me bring on my guest. Amelia, you ready, girl?
Yes,
Hey,
ma'am. Hi,
how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
So we good. We are talking about moms. I don't know. Were you able to hear me?
I was.
Okay. And I was trying to fix something at the same time and trying to talk at the same time because this is live and I just jumped on. And I was like, wait a minute, we got to get my guests on. So I was talking about moms, and today is Mother's Day. And a lot of times, you look beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. Happy Mother's Day to you too. And I hope the noise isn't too loud. I decided to be outside, and
Mm-mm.
then all of a sudden they decided to cut grass.
I don't hear it at all.
Okay, that's good.
I don't hear it at all. Like I just walked in the door and I haven't even breathed yet, but I wanted to come on here to talk about moms quickly because actually this is the first time in a few days where I could just take my clothes off and lay down and breathe for a second because as moms, we're always going. We're always hustling and bustling, making it happen, calling this one, that one, doing this, doing that, and sometimes we don't get that moment to kind of woosah. So that's my moment right after this. As soon as we do this, I'm going to do that. But tell me what motherhood means to you, not just for today, but every day.
As you were saying it, I was just sitting here thinking like what it really means to me just being a mother. And it's a lot of work. So all I had to go to my mind is what I see my mom, what she has given me, because I could never measure up to the woman that she has become or the woman she is. I'm like, Mom, how did you do this? Now she
Mm,
only had one of me, but I have three. And I see the sacrifice that even now I'm grown that she makes for me, that she had made since I was a child. A mother to me is someone who is willing to not be selfish and to look how they can benefit and help their child.
mm-hmm,
Don't talk about you to other people when you make them mad, but they figure out how to help you. Um, my mother also is willing to, even when I make her mad, she still will do anything she can for me. Someone who you can always lean on. I've learned since I've gotten older, my mother is really my best friend.
mm-hmm,
Someone who can give you wisdom, someone who can take care of you when you're sick, because that's definitely what my mom has been doing. She's been a good caregiver to me since I've had my stroke. Um, and then when I think about me being a mother, you definitely have to have patience. A mother
Somebody
is someone
just
who has
probably
patience.
somebody just probably was like, this young lady had a stroke. Because you said when I had my stroke, because you said it to me, because you're talking to me, like, because I already know your story. But someone probably was like, wait a minute, when she had a stroke, we got to have Amelia back on to talk about her incredible story and how God really saved her. Amelia, I'll have you on to talk about that. So if you're watching now, and you heard her talk about that, we'll have her back to talk about that. But go ahead. I didn't want to skate over that because you
And
really needed your mom at that time. You couldn't even walk. You couldn't do much.
right. And
Three
she
children.
consistently been here for me. And a mother is also a good grandmother, when you have children. My boys also have taught me how to even appreciate her more because I am the only child. So I have been spoiled. And when I think about what to give to my children, encouraging them when they go to school, when they don't feel like they're important, helping them. You're a teacher, yes, especially during COVID, a teacher, a principal.
Mhm.
You gotta be a cafeteria lady. There's so many details in a woman. Oh, also when I say a teacher not just teaching them things that you do in the physical world, but you got to teach them the word of God. That's
Mhm.
very important. I make sure that I'm able to give them enough knowledge. So if anything should happen to me, they know how to do it. Also, you got to teach. You got to be a financial advisor to them because you need to be able to show them how to manage their money, handle their credit, and then also teaching them how to get along with each other.
Mhm.
I love people that hurt them, forgive people. Like
Mhm.
those are things for me that I teach my boys.
Mhm.
Also, my children and their father and me, we got a divorce, so I have to continue build them up and encourage them that even when dad's not around, that he loves them, so they
Mhm.
won't have a negative mind that they don't want to talk to him. So continually building them up, encouraging them to love no matter what. And you got to be willing to play with them too, because my kids. That's why I'm outside. They want to play basketball. They want me to go down the street, go to the park with them and play. So you got to be willing to be open and sacrifice even when you don't want to.
Mhm. It's so true. And then you have boys. So when you think about that, when you think about that with moms, it is true because I have daughters, but I think about how my mom was with my brother. Like you got to do all of that. Like even as a mom, like you said, you out there, you got to play football, you got to play basketball, and there are a lot of single moms out there, whether divorced or single for whatever other reason, raising sons, raising boys, and they don't care that you're a girl. They want to still do what you do. Talk about that for a moment. Like a mother raising boys, because that's a whole different ball game. Because raising girls, I can say, okay, what they may or may not go through, what their temperament is, what their feelings are, what their bodies go through, advice, and that mother, because I was a girl, but you've never been a boy and you're raising boys. Talk about that for a moment.
Um, I can kind of say like this week has been well. This month is a very busy month. You have baseball. One of my boys is in a drill team,
Mm-hmm.
and one of my oldest son, he deals with low self esteem.
Mm-hmm.
So having to remind him to really who he is, to love himself.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have one that talks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
My middle son, he's the one who he gives off lot of love, but he likes to talk. And so I
Mm-hmm.
have to remind him that's a gift, but you got to learn how to use it wisely with your tongue. And then I have my third one, Thomas. He's 6 years old. He likes to fight for some reason. So I have to teach him that no matter what your brothers do to you do not leave outside this house
Mm-hmm.
and do that to other people. And so there's so many different things, variables within these three boys,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm also realizing that I have three boys,
Mm-hmm.
what I need was something different than what they need, and they can handle things that I don't think they can handle. So
Mhm.
when it takes a village. So
Mhm.
when it's my dad, or whether there's friends helping me and they see I'm doing wrong, I might feel offended because they come in a little strong. But the one thing I realize is that my boys can handle it because they're not full of emotions. They can have emotions, but they're not emotional like me, and
Mm.
so can handle things a lot tougher that you don't think they can handle. And so I'm realizing that if I want to get help from outsiders, I got to be willing to watch God work through them helping me, and not try to stop someone else helping me mother them
I,
or father them. And so it's kind of hard sometimes because sometimes I don't feel like I'm doing it right. But I'm really learning. It's we don't have a manual of how to do this as a mother, but we
mhm.
take by day. Each child is so different,
Yeah.
and so that's just a little bit that I have off the tip of my head. But
Oh, it's good.
our
That's
work.
It's good. And that's so true because a lot of mothers who have sons can relate to that, relate to what you're saying. It's difficult sometimes for moms to be able to raise a man, like a man. And a lot of people's like, well, I'm the father, mother, and the father. And I get why they're saying that because they're doing it by themselves. But there's certain things mothers do their very best, but then you can't teach a boy, and I'm just gonna keep it real, how to go to bathroom standing up. Like you can only tell them what you think it should be, but another man can kind of tell them what it's like, just like with daughters. So I commend all the mothers who have to hold it down and have no choice, but then have like the fathers or the godfathers or other men stepping up to do that. But raising three boys, you know is deep. Shout out to all the women I know raising boys. My I call her like a second mother, Miss Flory. She raised five boys by herself, and you think about that, like with women like that, and they're all incredible men to this day. So can a woman raise men? Absolutely. So let's just get that out the way. But when I was thinking about mom, I was like, MOM, mom. And I was like, making others matter.
Wow, that's good.
I just, and it came to the tip of my head, like before I did this, I was like, making others matter. Because whether it's children that we birth or children that we mentor, like mothers have this special touch in making everybody feel matter, whether they're cooking for them, taking care of them, giving them words of encouragement or affirmations, telling them, you know, um, that they matter or that they're beautiful or that they're handsome or they can do it. And I think about even my mom. I'm the woman that I am because of my mom, and the morals and the values that she instilled in me, and the giving spirit, because she would give the shirt off her back, and I saw her being of service and helping people and all of that. So certain things just come by seeing moms be moms. And like you think about stuff when you grow up, you like, dang, she probably was struggling, or she probably was sad, or she probably was this back then, but you couldn't tell because moms have a way just that they just make it do what it do, keep it moving and keep it pushing no matter what they're going through. It's almost like a superpower. Did you discover that, like when you got older, like, wow, my mom was she was like a real woman, a human. Did you ever get that correlation as a woman yourself and as a mom, like, dang, she must have really been struggling at that time, whether it's emotionally, financially, spiritually, whatever. But as a woman, you're able to reflect at your child self, and then look at your mom as a woman opposed to a mom. Do you think sometimes that gets confused with being a mom and being a woman and being able to see that they're human like us, especially growing?
Yes, I think about it every day because growing up, you can see. Oh, I used to say, oh, I want some kids. I want to be a mom. And I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't until my boys got to this age that I realized, how did she do this?
Yeah.
How did She take care of me when
Yeah.
I was up in school, when I was talking back, when I cried. How did she make the right decision? It seemed like she knew everything. She knew what to do, what to say. And now I'm realizing, like, wow, one day at a time is what she took.
Hmm. And you don't even think about it. It's like almost you take it for granted. And I think sometimes moms are taken for granted, and not in a bad way or a negative way, just a way where they like, mom got it. Because I know even my kids, they know they got me in them, but they know at the end of the day, I'm riding for them. And no matter what, you go, I got it, I got your back. So it's a as they get older, you teach them how to manage and do the things that you know how to do, because I think as moms it's important to empower our children also and teach them through our actions and showing them different ways, but we always got their back and we're going to make it happen. And by me making it happen, my kids know that they can make it happen. By my mom making it happen, I knew that I can make it happen. And some things we just get naturally, by our parents. What's the best quality you think you got from your mom?
The best quality I think I got from my mom is embracing and showing love,
Mm,
and being willing to be there, be present, like, because anyone can be in someone's life, but to be present
yeah,
and really listen to them is
yeah,
different.
yeah,
Um, the the kindness that my mom show,
yeah,
like, just the biggest thing I can say is how she's taught me how to sacrifice no matter what I'm feeling, no matter
yeah,
what I gotta do, no matter what I need,
yeah,
that at the end of the day is
yeah,
always to benefit these boys
yeah,
and to make sure that I am in their life. I'm taking care of myself so
mm-hmm,
they can be in their life.
yeah,
Like, that is the biggest thing that I see is being present with them and spending that time with them, because even though they're boys, they still need love, they still need hugs, and they still need to know that someone care about them and that they're going to be there every day for them.
yeah. Yeah. I love that. And it's Mother's Day now. You're with your boys. So we're not going to go, too much longer, just probably about 10 minutes. So you can continue spending time with your sons. And, I could go watch some of my favorite mom movies like I was watching. I got to finish watching. I've seen it for like 6, 7 times. But the Clark sisters, Maddie Moss Clark, with Anjanou Ellis playing her, that's a good one. There's a lot of moms that we celebrate through movies and through songs, but most importantly through our own lives and seeing our grandmothers, like I keep saying, because it's so important, because there are a lot of grandmothers and aunties and cousins and everybody who mother children, and people who haven't given birth to children still are mothering children. You met my daughters, Aaliyah and Amara. Obviously, those are the good ones I gave birth to. But you met my bonus daughter, Lashana, too. I, you know, and she calls me mom, and she's been calling me moms probably the last 10 over a decade. She's been calling me that, and you acquire children along the way and along the journey. And I honestly believe that God puts these people, because you like a little daughter to me, but you're older, so I say you my little sister. Absolutely. I love you. But God, I think, truly puts people in our lives so we can mother and so we can pass on the lessons that we've learned, and maybe and hopefully and prayerfully, they can learn from us in the wisdom that we have and the experiences that we have. What was a tough lesson that you had to learn as a mom?
That the toughest time I've had being a mother is after being married for 15 years and all of a sudden being single. That how much more my boys needed me to be there, and how much more I had to make sure, because mental health right now for the children this age is very important.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed how I had to make sure that my mental health was good so I can make sure that I'm, like I said, present with my boys, because I watched them struggle, not understanding, well, dad was here and now all of a sudden it's just us. And
Mm-hmm.
so explaining and making sure I'm not saying anything bad about dad,
Mm-hmm.
making sure that
Mm-hmm.
even when they say something bad about me, I'm
Mm-hmm.
willing to keep loving. When my boys, the first time they went with their dad, and they went to his girlfriend's house. They didn't want to tell me, but I had to humble myself and
Mm-hmm.
say, "Well, did you have fun? Did she treat you good?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all that matters. And so, even though it was hard for me in that time,
Mm-hmm.
I still had to sacrifice what I felt so my boys could feel comfortable. Because what I noticed, especially with my oldest one, he tends to hold back because he don't want to hurt me. And
Mm-hmm.
to show them how to love people no matter what is going on. So that was really tough for me,
Yeah.
learning how to turn off my attitude, turn off what I think is right, and think about the best thing for these boys.
Yeah.
And then how to be there and keep them at activities. That's why I put them in so many activities so their minds can be focused on something else rather than the pain that adults are going through.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. I totally agree. And sometimes, that's what, but a mother is good for that. A mother is good to, kind of put their feelings to the side, right? For the betterment of their child. And a lot of people don't understand the selflessness that takes. People automatically think, oh, because of mom, they're a mom. Again, they're a superhero. They can do everything. But of course, moms have feelings too. But there are so many times where moms stuff down their feelings for the betterment of their child. And some would like to say that makes that mom a great mom. And you are a great mom, all the moms out there. But I like Amelia talked about that. She talked about mental health and having to make sure you take care of your mental health first so you can be the best mom that you can be for them children. But a lot of times, why do you think moms don't even think about their mental health? And I'm so glad that we're talking about that now. And I'm so glad that you brought that up. And I'm so glad that now, as a culture, we're talking about mental health and therapy and making sure we're healthy, because eating your fruits and vegetables, yes, that can make your mind healthy, that can make your body healthy, but it's not going to do what it needs to do for your mental health. So just like you go to a doctor to get your annual checkup, get your blood work, your EKGs, your whatever, you still have to make sure that mind is right. Because as a mom, you're being pulled every which way. And don't be no single mom, because you really being pulled thin and you're putting yourself last. If you're financially challenged, you're feeding your kids before you feed you, and then you may not eat, or you're paying for this sport or that whatever for your child, so now you're cutting back on maybe therapy, or you're cutting back on some of the things that you want to do to exercise your mental health. What would you tell somebody out there who's just going, a mom, and they're not stopping to say, you know what, let me put on my oxygen mask first, let me fill my cup up first so I can be a better mom? What would you tell that person, that just that mom that just doesn't even know how to think about themselves?
I would say take out the time and be honest and look at yourself on what you can do different for you. And there's so many resources out here, utilize them, because sometimes we don't utilize, like you said, those therapists, we don't utilize, where sometimes can be very embarrassed or feel like I don't need that. But in reality, if when you become open to something new, you will find out that it will definitely heal, bring healing, not just healing in you, but healing in the generations to come. because a lot of things are generational things that have been brought down to us. Not nothing that we done, but
Mhm.
it's been generational things from our mother's
Mhm.
mother. And really being honest to deal with them and talk about the hard things. Ask questions.
Yeah.
Um, because if you don't ask, you won't get that healing. And then a lot of prayer.
Mhm.
You know, I would also tell a mother who feel like they can't. The Lord showed me
Mhm.
the same thing He can do for somebody else, He can do for you.
Mhm.
Because even in that moment when I felt like I couldn't, He
Mhm.
showed me that I was doing what's right.
Mhm.
So finding somebody who can, you can pair up with, that can encourage you the way along the way, and don't be afraid to express your true you. And being honest with your children too about what's going on. I'm very honest with them about how I'm feeling, and saying sometimes I just need to take a moment for me. Like that moment you were saying you're gonna get to have after this, taking that moment out for you, whether you need to get in the car and go ride, whether
Mhm.
you go in the bathroom and lock the door and just soak in
Mhm.
that. Um, if you want healing, if you want to see something different, we really have to put forth the effort.
Mhm.
Um, Today that it was they were talking about knowledge, and sometimes when we get knowledge, we
Mhm.
don't grab the knowledge. We just let knowledge fly over our head. But
Mhm.
if you don't just go get the knowledge, you gotta also pick it up and eat it and let it become you, so you can change on the inside of you.
Yeah. That I think that that's perfectly said, because you really do. You really, it's a whole mindset. It's to change the inside and the way you're thinking and the way that you've kept, you keep going and going and going and going and going, and you don't know how to stop to make that change. Have you ever had that time where you just were like, slow down, Amelia? I know you were talking just, about it briefly, but like, can you think of one occasion where you were like, girl, slow down? Like, you're not going to be the best mother you can be if you all stressed out, if you worried, if running yourself ragged. Can you think of a particular time?
I have a lot of stories.
Yes,
And
but somebody right now is running ragged right now. They're a single mom. They don't know how to even do it. And you just sharing a little bit of something that you've gone through, and now you sitting there looking beautiful, you with your boys, and you got over it, because you might be able to help somebody. And before we do that, I want to shout out to Danielle Kinsley. She is like she always calls me her mentor, and she loves me and all this other stuff, and I love her just the same. And we were talking about mothering people, and mentoring, and little sisters, and surrogate daughters, and all of that. And she's all of that to me. And she just lost her mom. She just lost her mom. And she called me Saturday. Danielle, I love you if you're watching. She called me Saturday, and I saw her number came, and I answered the phone, and all it was tears and crying. And she said she didn't know who else to call. She didn't want to talk to everybody, but she called me. And I'm just so thankful that she even is, what a blessing it was for her to call me. You know what I mean? I don't take that as she called me. That is God, and that's our connection. And that's what I'm talking about, mothering and being that way for people. And she was crying when she called me. And I'm smiling because when we got off the phone, me being me, she was cracking up when she hung up that phone. And it's not been that long since she's lost her mom. Like, it's recent. So I just want to tell you, Danielle, that I love you and I'm praying for you. And she was going to be a part of this show. And we're still going to get on here and honor her mom whenever she's ready. And this is, of course, her first Mother's Day without her mom. Her mom just died. Hasn't even been 2 months, I think. Somewhere around then. Yeah. There she is. Oh, look, I was going to try to pronounce your new married name, but I ain't even going to do it. He's African, and um, I don't want to chop it up because it's a beautiful last name. But Danielle, I love you. I love you. Say hello to Danielle. She's watching, Amelia.
Hi, Danielle. I am so sorry for your loss. I am. Every day is not going to be easy. And of course, I don't know what that pain feels like, but I know that we have a comforter that will give you comfort. And it's okay to cry. It's okay to miss her, and it's okay to remember her.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I told her, I said, Danielle, do you know what a gift God gave you where you could be at her in her last days? Literally, you were taking care of her. She was taking care of her mom. She had that opportunity and a privilege to take care of her mom and spend her time in the last day, final breath with her mother. And they were able to, I said, do you know how deep it is, right? That you didn't have regrets. You didn't say, I wish I was talking to her. We just had an argument. I haven't talked to my mom in 5 years. That is like a gift, because I said most people suffer in this life when their parents die because they didn't say what they wanted to say. They had guilt. They wish they would have called. They didn't, so much guilt. But it's so beautiful that she got to spend those days and her mom knew that she loved her and vice versa. And what a gift that is, that something is happening and you're leading up to it and taking care of them and being able to talk and say sorry and all the things that you want to say and hug and laugh, and then
Yeah,
they pass.
yeah.
That's a gift.
And it's
That's a gift. And I said, think about that gift that you had, she passed away. She had no guilt. You had no guilt. Nothing was unsaid. Y'all loved to the end.
and I can definitely believe that her mom was able to get peace. That she didn't have to be in a nursing home with strangers, but she was able to be right there with her daughter. And I can just imagine that's a very peaceful place, knowing that you have family that's right here with you during your transition. And even though it's hard for both people, but it's definitely a blessing because I've seen it. I lived it. I watched um, my friend and her mom, and she was able to be there every day with her. And her mom was able to help her prepare because a lot of times we don't prepare for that, you know? And
Mm-hmm,
so that they got to spend with each other. She's 20
mm-hmm.
something years old. That the moments they got to spend with each other was more valuable because they were able to spend it every day with each other to go through that
Yeah,
transition.
yeah,
And
with
so
no regret.
great moments, laughs, things that they were able to talk about, questions that she was able to ask.
Mm-hmm. And I want to say this, and I touched on something like this with Danielle, and I know this will help someone else too. Because with Danielle, I was like, stop watching social media and all these people trying to have the perfect mother-daughter relationship. Every mother and daughter relationship has some grooves and twists and turns and complications. It's real. Like, it's real. So celebrate all the flaws in your mother-daughter, mother-son relationships. Celebrate the flaws in your relationships. And and be able to laugh at yourselves, and see the imperfections as beauty, and not this fake stuff on social media or on TV shows that they wrap it up and tie it in a bow at the end and the problem is solved in 21 minutes or something like that. Relationships in general are complicated. Just because someone gave birth to you or you gave birth to them doesn't make this kind of relationship without flaw. You know what I'm saying? Celebrate all the imperfections in motherhood. And if you're, looking at your moms, celebrate the imperfections in their relationship with you and vice versa. Nobody's going to get it right. Nobody's going to be perfect. But the beauty in it is really just celebrating who you are in those relationships with one another, because it goes without saying a lot of times, and I just want people to not be focused on having the perfect relationship. You hear people all the time like, I want the perfect mother-daughter relationship, or I want my son to be a mama's boy, and they got all of these expectations. Just love each other and let it flow how it's supposed to flow, and God could do the rest.
Yes, because it definitely can be fearful because I've said some things of I'm thinking ahead of time, not now, but how will our relationship be? Will they still love me? Will they take care of me? Because a lot of times they say boys won't
Mhm.
take care of you like girls, and the more I start thinking about that, the more the Lord was showing me that He has not given me the spirit of fear. And so I start thinking, the more I invest into them now, the more I teach them about character now, I won't have to worry about their future because they'll still take care of me. They'll still help me. They'll still love me, no
Mm-hmm.
matter what imperfections I have, no matter what I've done wrong. I really worried about that as I became a single mother. Am I good enough for them? Um, and so just learning that they're okay.
Yeah.
They're gonna be everything that's going on is the way that it's supposed to be. We're all learning. They're learning how to understand their mom just as well as I'm learning how to understand them as my children.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so funny. And I did a post today for Mother's Day with my, put my daughters up there when they were little. I'm like, all of these mothers, we know that motherhood is not easy. We know that sometimes it's thankless, sometimes it's late night, sometimes it's early morning, sometimes it's doing things you don't want to and sacrificing and all of these things, that makes a mother loving and caring and all the wonderful things that we know. Yep. We know that mothers are superheroes. We know that mothers do their thing and mothers teach children. We know that. But what we don't talk about and recognize is how some of these children save the lives of their mothers. They teach their mothers. They show their mothers. They love their mothers unconditionally. They accept their mothers for who they are. I know that I've learned so much through my children, even about me, because children, at least mine, they're very honest, they're very open, they're very loving and caring. And you can learn because most of the time your children are different parts of you. So you
Yes.
see the good parts, you can see the, ooh, I could see me in that. You could see like, oh, they're like me. Like you can see all of that. And if you are honest enough and mature enough and real enough, you will be able to learn from your children. And that's a gift. I remember my oldest daughter, and I've told this story before. Well, she was like on Twitter, Black mothers don't apologize to their children. And people were like, shoot, my mother, hell will freeze over before my mother apologized. And they were doing all of that. And my daughter was like, Mom, you apologize all the time. And it's about like, oh, if I did this, I'm sorry. Or if that happened, I'm sorry. Like any random thing, I will apologize. If you hurt somebody's feelings and you don't mean to, oh, I'm sorry. Just like you would treat another human being, you got to treat your children that. And I don't know what that's about where parents feel like they can't apologize to your children. They are people too. You are raising people, you are raising adults, and you want them mentally stable. You want them to be able to have the capacity to love and apologize and forgive and all of that. So you have to show them through your actions, even to them. What you think about that? And then we're gonna wrap up. But what do you think about apologizing to your children?
Important, very important, because I find myself having to apologize all the time. Apologize for raising my voice. Even earlier before I came out here, my son had came and asked me, could he have some chicken? And once I went back in, my oldest son, and I said, Terrell, I said, what's this here? And he said, what, Mom? I said, what is that? He said, that was already there. I said, oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me. Because because
Me.
he was there from when I was in there, I automatically blamed him because he's the last person who had asked me for some chicken. And so I had to realize is that don't jump to conclusions. Ask him, nicely. Anything can kind of trigger someone to feel like you're blaming them. And so I find myself always having to make sure that I'm checking myself at the door with them because first of all, I never want them to grow up and think a woman is supposed to talk to them any kind of way or that it's okay for a woman to yell at them. And knowing that what another thing I'm realizing because I am a single mother is that they need to know how to hear a man's voice just as well as a woman's voice. And so I'm learning with my oldest son, it's hard for him to receive from a man because no one is correcting him like me.
Mm,
Dad can
that's
do
deep.
that. So I'm trying to teach him to understand that when grandpa says something to you and it's strong, you don't run from that. He's teaching you something that you're not learning from me because I'm a woman. and I'm handling things differently. And so it's all across the board of learning that what I say matters, but also how I act towards him is important too, because I don't want him to grow up and think that it's okay to be abused by a woman.
That's deep. That
Or
right
to
there,
see
that's
someone like
deep.
me.
That's deep. Amelia, that's deep. That's deep. What you just said, you ministered to somebody and they're going to change. That's deep. That's deep. Because I don't think moms raising sons think that. Because you hear moms raising sons say, yeah, I want to make sure he's respectful to women. I want to make sure that he treats a woman with love. I want to make sure that he's not abusive. I want to make, you hear all of these things, like some of the women that have gone through with men, they want to correct it with their sons. But you don't even, but something simple as how you talk to them and hearing a voice of a man. That's deep. That's deep. That's a whole show in itself. That's deep.
You had said something earlier when we were talking about a woman that may be feeling like they can't figure it out. A word that I was going to use, and I always chop this word up, is being vulnerable. Being vulnerable, like you had said when Danielle called you. I remember a time when I felt like my strings were breaking, and I remember reaching out to you. I was able to be vulnerable because I was scared to be all the way honest with you about what I was dealing with. But we can't get free, women, ladies, young ladies. We can't get free if we're not willing to be vulnerable and really be honest with someone and not allow our heartache, our what's the word, being embarrassed or feeling like they don't understand, or rejection, feeling like you're going to be rejected, or they're going to talk about you. Find that one
Judge you.
person that you feel like that you can really be vulnerable with and let it out. And
Mhm.
that's why it's so important to just really be honest, because we all need help. We all need to be able to be free and know that we're doing the best that we know how to do. And that it's an everyday learning experience. Every day is going to be different. I hate change, but I'm realizing the older I get that change is good for me, because yesterday is gone and it don't even like me. It leaves me every day. But
I love
every
that.
morning, it comes every morning for me, and I get to start over and I get to put my best foot forward. And so I'm able to make sure that I'm hugging my boys. Good morning. I love you. I make
Mhm.
sure I say affirmations with them every morning.
Yeah.
And it helps me because even when they make me mad because they're not getting things like they're supposed to do in the morning and get dressed, we get in the car and one of them will say, Mom, can I pray? And I'm mad. And by the time we get there, and I'm like, forgive me, y'all. And I had to make sure that I'm saying, forgive me, because I don't want them to go to school with this, with mama having an attitude, but then also, Lord, forgive me, you can't make it right with God if you don't make it right with the person that you offended.
Ooh, but
And
look
so
what you did though.
all
Look
of
how you
that
raised them to say, Mom, can we pray? That's big. That's huge. That's huge.
is very important. Like
Mhm.
it's every day is there's no right answer to anything that you're asking that or that we're talking about, because it's different for everybody. But the one thing I can say, being vulnerable with your children, being vulnerable with the person you love, your mother, and talking about the things that are hard. And if you feel like there's nobody there, I've also learned what we don't do is utilize therapists. I go to behavioral therapy, and I've learned so much about myself because I had a traumatic brain. I had a traumatic brain injury, and I didn't realize that things change. Even though I still feel like I'm the same Amelia, I realize that things have changed, and I'm learning how to handle frustrations now. I'm learning how to not go to 1,000 too fast,
Mhm.
and that I had to learn how to cope and handle things that I can't. Too much stress
Mhm.
won't be the wrong direction, because when you get stressed, you get depressed. You
Mhm.
want to. I say when I get stressed, I get depressed, and then I want to isolate myself. And when I
Mhm.
isolate myself, I can't be present for these boys. So I'm
Mhm.
learning how to talk about what's bothering me instead of holding it on the inside, which will cause me not to be effective in these boys' life. So
Mhm.
everything that I'm doing now in my life, it has nothing to do with anybody else except for my mental health being right. So
Mm-hmm.
then I can make sure that I am helping these boys because they got to learn how to be out in this world
Mm-hmm.
because it's easy being out here. They have to learn how to go to school and respect adults and then learn how to be sociable and
And black
also,
men raising black boys is a whole different category.
yes, it is teaching them that what you do, you're always going to be looked at a certain kind of way. So that's very important. Oh, it is so much work, but it's so
Mm-hmm.
worth it because you get hugs. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I
Mm-hmm.
love things, and I love that about my boys. They are definitely huggers. When I was growing up, my mom didn't give hugs. And so I see now, even her being a grandmother, she give my boys hugs and kisses all the time. So
Mm.
even her, she has learned through my boys, by me having
Ooh,
boys,
that's good.
you know, how she can even be a better grandmother,
Mm.
even though she's a great mother to me, but I see her as a greater mother to my boys, being a grandmother to them, because they're teaching her how to embrace. Because she came from a
Wow.
family that didn't embrace. They didn't say I
That,
love you.
and that's probably how she was mothered.
Yes.
So now your sons who you're raising are helping your mother break the chains.
Yes.
That's powerful and beautiful at the same time. Like that really, that's good. So did you, it's so much we can unpack with that. And we'll talk about that in another show about how, how you've grown up and how some of the things your parents may have done or not done affected you to be. That's a whole, y'all, we're gonna have to do a show on that because that's deep in itself. And but even though your mom didn't do certain things, you can sit here and say that that's your shiro and she helped you, and she, so it's a beautiful thing. And I love the fact that you can isolate the two, because oftentimes mothers are judged so hard, whether it's us or whether it's us judging mothers, it's so hard for, I love the fact that you're able to celebrate her even though she didn't do certain things. And that's what we have to do as women with other moms. You hear some moms offending or judging one who breastfeeds or one who doesn't, or one who goes out to go to work, one who is a stay-at-home mom, one who is a vegan, one who eats pork, one who, you hear all of these different things, one who exercises when they're pregnant, one who doesn't, one who exposes their kids to this. It's like, stop judging these mothers and understand that there are more than one way, more than your way to mother a child. And I think if we can really understand that as people and stop judging people and stop aspiring to be like someone else, because you're never going to be like someone else. Just be the best mom you can be and do what feels right and pray. I learned that from my mom when I was young. My mom used to be like, God sees all. And even as a 50-year-old, I'm like, okay, God sees all. Let me, it's like certain,
Yeah.
I look at like how we talked about God, and we can, and hear like how, we learned that. Like I've taught my daughters to pray, and I love to hear them say, Mom, can we pray? Or I love to hear them praying. But then I learned that from my mom. When I used to write my mom letters or send letters or I always used to put at the end, God bless you. Like that doesn't come from happenstance. Like that's the mother,
Yes.
teaching the child, and then you pass that on. So there's a lot of things that are passed on that are amazing. So where would we be without our mothers, and where would our children be without us? I just love, and I'm so glad this is my first show back. I had oral surgery. I still have stitches in my mouth now, but now I can talk a little better. I can notice how I'm holding my mouth funny, but I can talk a little better. And this, I took a week off of my shows, but I'm so glad that this is the first show back. And I was like, well, should I do it? I don't know if I'm going to do it, because remember, I wanted to do this show during the week, but I couldn't. But I think, and having you right here, I think it went how it was supposed to go.
Yes, I was gonna say this, that because it's not a manual, the way you do it is the best that it's supposed to be. Like, I think about how things that my mama did or said when I was a child, I always say she did what she knew how, and everything still is great for me. I still have everything I need. I'm still healthy as I can be. And I'm happy. Like, that's the thing. I didn't have a bad childhood, but I put myself in a lot of situations. But I can still say that with the guidance of my mother, it wouldn't be like this without her. I couldn't have better mother than her, because
Oh,
she really taught me how to just be okay with Amelia. She taught me what not to do as a mother, and she also taught me what I should do better, and how I should live as a woman.
shout her out.
Costella, that's her name. Costella, I love her so much. She is definitely my friend, and she's sick right now.
Oh, pray.
Not feeling well, and I love her. She's a sacrifice for everything, not just for me, but even for my friends. And I
Love
also
her.
want to shout out to Trina Crawford. She is my spiritual mother. I see how, even though she just lost her sister last Sunday, and she's still willing to sacrifice everything that she needs for everybody else to comfort them during this time also. And so I'm thankful for my support system and the women that God has put in my life, where they're teaching me how, being a woman, sometimes you have those moments where maybe you need to just raise your hands and you need to be vulnerable and say, this is what I need. And then you
Mhm.
have those moments where you're strong and where you endure and where you're resilient and where you just keep on going.
I love that. I love that. And what's the best part of motherhood for you, being a mom?
The best part of motherhood is not being alone. And I say that when I had my stroke, and the only thing I could think about was when my boys would walk through the room, that I had them and they had me.
Mm.
That when I couldn't get out my bed when I made it home after that, they helped me. They helped me walk still now. Mom, you have your cane with you, and Mom, do you need help? Are you okay? One moment I almost fell. They see me fall out the shower before, and so they're very cautious on if I need help. They open doors for me.
Oh,
Um, I just love that I had them, because honestly, I probably wouldn't be where I am right now if the Lord wouldn't have gave me these three boys. When they told me I couldn't have them, the Lord gave me three boys, and I didn't know what I was gonna do, because I wanted some girls. But I'm thankful that I got these three boys, because life would be so different without them.
oh, and we're going to end right there. That was sweet. I have nothing else to say about that, but you're a blessing to them and they're a blessing to you. And God knows what He's doing when He allows you to birth these children. He don't care nothing about I want girls, I want boys. He gives you exactly what you need. And it sounds like you discovered exactly what you needed, and your sons have taught you so much about life and so much about you, and you know what they're doing for you is what you instilled in them, and they love you. Thank you so much, Amelia, and I know you're with them, so get back to them, tell them I said hello, and I'm just so glad that you were able to join me to talk about motherhood and to inspire someone, talking about your mom and talking about, you being a mom. And I'm glad that we took this moment to have this time to celebrate moms.
Yes. Happy Mother's Day to all the women. Yes.
Anything else you want to say before we end the show?
I love you, and I love what you're doing. And I pray that God continue to open up every door for you that you deserve, because you definitely deserve it. And He's definitely watching, because He led me to you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I do. I appreciate everyone out there. If you're watching live or the replay, I know a lot of people may not be watching live because you're with your mothers or you're with your children who are spoiling you today as moms. If no one told you you were an amazing mom, I'm telling you right now, don't worry about being the perfect mom and what you see on TV and what you see on social media or your friends, and you feel like, you're defeated as a mom because you don't have the money, you don't have the time, you don't have the resources, you don't have the this, you don't have the that, and you're focusing on all of that. Focus on what you do have, because it doesn't take money to love. It doesn't take, what you think it takes to be a best mom, the best mom you can be. It takes exactly what you have to mother those kids you have. Trust me. And all of those that cannot have children biologically, just find a child. I'm sure you got one. Find a young adult and mother them, because they need you too. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. This is Kendell Lenice. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like and share with some of your favorite mothers or someone you need that needs to be encouraged by this message. Thank you so much. Remember, you are a star, so don't allow anyone to dim your shine. Until next time, God bless. Peace. Bye, y'all. Bye, Amelia. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Hi.